Let's continue the series of the Java built-in functional interfaces. Today's lesson will cover one interface from the Java util function package, the consumer. This is what the consumer looks like. It belongs to the Java util function package. It has a functional interface annotation, and it is parameterized by the type T. It also has an abstract method accept and a default and then method. So let's start with a basic example. Let's create a list of users. User is a object that I have on my project. Let's give it a name, user list. And I have a static method on the user class, which creates a list of users. Let's take a look at this method. So it creates a list of users with a name and age, and we have a toString method that prints the user and age. So let's iterate this user list. Take a look at the for each method. It receives a consumer. It has a consumer as a parameter. And this is the for each method that receives a consumer of a type T. And at the end, it performs the action that you need. So it has the accept method. And that's what it does. So it performs the given action for each element of the iterable until all elements have been processed. So my action will be just print the user. Let's run, see what happens. And that's the first consumer example. Now this is another basic consumer example. Let's create a consumer with a long type. And we need to pass the type T, just any name. And what I want to do is print 10 times what I pass as a type. Now what we have to do is call the abstract method accept. So it will print 10 times 2. Just to make sure, let's duplicate. Let's pass times 3 and times 4. And we have 20, 30, 40. Here we go, another basic consumer example. So let's do it again and create a long with value 2. And let's create a consumer. The same from the previous example. We just print what it receives times 10. Okay. Let's implement the accept and pass the long that we have a long in the beginning. Let's run. And we have 20. The important thing to notice here is that the consumer doesn't actually change the value of the long. So take a look at the value. It is still 2. Now let's create another consumer to test the default and then method from the consumer interface. And this time we will get the value and divide by 2. So we'll get the a long and divide by 2. let's call the endThen method, passing the endThen consumer, and also using the accept method at the end. So notice that first it calls the accept method, then it calls the endThen method, and none of them will change the original long value. Now let's create an interface that extends from consumer, and the type of the consumer that we're going to use is the user class that we have in this project. And let's create a static method. It is going to be void that just says hello to a new user. And let's just print hello user. Yeah, printing user.getName. And then let's have another one that tells the age of the user. So it's pretty much a copy of the previous method, but we are going to print the age of the user. And let's see how to use this class in another class. So let's see how to use my consumer interface. Let's start an instance of this interface, and we're going to pass a method reference from a static method that we have there, just the say hello. And let's use it. This consumer, remember to use the accept method, and let's pass a new user, Rafa 38. Here we go, let's run. Okay, it says hello Rafa. And now I want to also tell the age. So see that you can use this chaining operation. It will first say hello, and then you will call the other method, tell age, and tell my age, which I passed already to the accept method. This is very useful for creating greetings for your website or application, and you can add and remove greetings depending on the type of user. You just have to use the chaining operations. You could add more and then calls, such as tell my gender, tell my last name, or any information from a child class. So now just a recap about the consumer interface. It accepts a single argument. It does not return any result. It can be assigned as a target for a lambda expression or method reference as any function interface. And it can be used for chaining operations.